Wholesaling Elite Mastermind. All right, so we had a question in our group from Arturo last week. I'm gonna read the question. So basically, he's looking for some strategies that he can implement to convert better on face-to-face conversations regarding price, anything he can do basically in those negotiations to make things better. So basically what I did here is I brought my secret weapon in the room. I pulled him away from closing deals right now. He looks really happy about that. But I pulled him away so he can come in here. So those of you guys who have not met this guy right here, this is Mike. Mike is my COO, sales manager, salesman, my personal assistant, I think. He pretty much does everything. So he runs a lot of different things within my company. One of the things that Mike does well, for those of you guys that are live, he closes deals. He has a way to close deals that if I was the seller would literally piss me the hell off because I'm too type A. But he has the way to get around objections, and he does a damn good job negotiating price down. How many $100,000 spreads have you gotten?
Over 10.
Okay.
Give me a few more days, maybe over 11 next time we talk.
Yeah, see the confidence? So the question from Arturo here. He's in front of sellers. He's face-to-face with them, trying to figure out, as the seller's just throwing out objection after objection after objection, how does he overcome some of those things? So if we look at standard objection seller throws out, let's go with the most popular one, which I believe is, I need to talk to somebody. I need to talk to my aunt. I need to talk to my husband. I need to talk to my family members. I can't sign today because I need to talk to all of these people, but I am the only signer. What is something you would do to combat something like that when a seller says it?
Well, that one we would probably just tackle straight on and ask a little bit more in depth on why he would need to talk with that person and what kind of decision-making skills do they have that he doesn't. Ultimately, I think that comes down to confidence. If we're sitting together and you don't want to make the decision in front of me, you're trying to send me away so you don't have to make that decision. So ultimately it comes down to the confidence and the relationship that you build up before you get to the point of talking about the offer. So the way that I do it is I don't even talk about them signing paperwork until they're ready to make that decision. As soon as they are, just pull it out and hand it to them and have them sign. So don't ask them if they're ready to sign. You'll know when they are ready. And ultimately have the confidence in the process and yourself and your answers to any questions that they have. And then any objections, tackle those straight on. Don't shy away from them. Just go right on after them.
And would it be fair to say that the seller saying they don't want to sign at that moment is because it's easier for them to either ignore you afterwards or say no through email or a phone call later versus saying that to your face?
Basically, when a seller says, "Look, Scott, I would sign, but I have to talk to my brother first." They're saying that they would sign with you, but now they're putting it on the brother who is not in front of you, which means there's no way you could talk to the brother, no way you could see if he wants to sign or not. So they're not telling you no, but they're also not telling you yes. But what they're doing is creating a counterfeit yes. I will sign with you, but I need to talk to my person first. Well, next thing you know, they ghost you for the next 6 months.
Yep. Okay. So this conversation actually comes at the perfect time because we actually just had a conversation. We went out to dinner last week, took our sales team out to dinner. And part of that was to, number one, have a celebration because of what they've done. But number two, we sat for probably 3 hours.
Yeah, at least.
Sat and just talked business and objections. And one of the things that we looked at, so Mike gets $100,000 spreads on a lot of deals. He does a damn great job getting the highest spreads out of our sales team. So for us, that poses a challenge, right? Because we want to find out how our other 3 sales guys, so you got 3 over here and you got Mike over here, how can these 3 be more like Mike to be able to get those higher spreads? And Arturo, it comes down really to like the negotiation factor of it. So the thing that all 3 of them came back with, so I asked them all to put together an email telling us why they think that their spreads fall short of what Mike is getting. I wanted to get their individual opinions. And all 3 of their emails that we read basically came down to having the confidence to do it. Yeah. So you can be in front of a seller, and it's one thing to say, "Hey, Mr. Seller, I'll give you $200,000 for your house." It's another thing to say, "Hey, Mr. Seller, I'll give you $140,000 for your house." Now, the thing that Mike does very well as we look at this negotiation, and one thing we're going to start doing too, I bought recording devices, which these guys are going to take to some of their appointments. So we'll share some of those with you guys so you can truly see him in action with a seller. But one thing that he does very well is the rapport building aspect. So we'd agree that a lot of sales, the majority of sales, is rapport building, correct?
Yeah, it's not about the price at all. When you're with a seller, the only thing that matters is where they want to go and why they're selling their house. If you can figure that out, the rest is going to put itself together. And honestly, the money behind it, it's hard to believe, but the actual dollar amount doesn't necessarily matter. If you could provide a solution to all of their issues and you could build the dream and get them there and get them happy, they're ready to go. So that's when you could really start to figure out what would they actually be happy with when it comes to money in their pocket. If you could let them answer that for you, a lot of times you're going to get a better answer than what you could have just thrown at them because they came up with it. They already like it. You don't need to sell them. It's their idea. They love it. They're ready to go. Let them talk. Build the dream, let them talk, and then take them there. It's that simple.
In negotiations, even though really it's rapport building, is really starting the minute you have that first phone call with the person, right? Because you're starting to develop that rapport, which makes them want to do business with you. So it helps them answer your phone calls. It helps them set an in-person appointment and allow you to come to their house. So when you get to that house, you knock on the door. That seller opens up that door. Oh, hey, Mike. You're not just saying, hey, Mr. Seller, sign my contract.
No.
I'll give you $300,000 for this shit box, right? You're doing what from the minute that seller opens that door?
Making friends. That's it. Making friends. We'll go inside. We'll start inside the house, go to the outside of the house, go to the front of the house, go to the garage, go back outside. And we're not talking about the house. We're just walking around and we're talking as friends. By the time I leave, they're inviting me over for dinner. They're inviting me over for their family gatherings. They want, their family members. Oh my God, Mike's buying my house, making it so easy. Here's Mike. Talk to him. That's what you want them to feel and then that all goes back to the confidence, because if they trust you, they're confident in making that decision with you. And that's the objective, not to go and say, hey, the shingles are falling off the roof. I don't care about that, right? Yeah. Ultimately, you have to factor that in, but you want to learn who you're actually dealing with. Get to like them, let them get to like you, and the negotiations then become very, very easy and very direct, because, okay, here's where you're at. This is where we're taking you. How do you want to get there? Perfect. I will get you there just like that. And next thing you know, you're walking in with $70,000 to $150,000 spread. And it was easy, really easy. That's the thing. A lot of times when you get huge spreads, they're really easy. Not because somebody calls me and says, hey, Mike, I will sell you my house for 30% of market value. That doesn't happen. But as far as ease of getting them to where they want to go, that's where the money's at.
So as you're walking through that house, so let's go back. So the seller opens up the door. You're carrying on a conversation. Your goal is to have them be friends with you. You're walking through the house not talking about the house. So, for example, you walk through and you see pictures in the hallway. You start carrying on a conversation. Oh, who is this? Oh, is this your family? Oh, this was a family house? Was it passed down? Different type of conversations like that you're having to show a genuine interest in their life. Versus the other direction saying, just as you said, you're walking through, oh, hey, Mr. Seller, yeah, I'm just going to take a look around the house. And you either leave the seller and walk through yourself, or you're walking through with the seller going, oh, that bathroom's a piece of shit. We're going to need to remodel that. Don't you agree, Mr. Seller? Oh my gosh, popcorn on the ceilings. We're going to have to take that off. Probably asbestos. Those type of conversations steer you towards basically a no on your contract, right? Because those people need to see that you care about them. You're not saying anything bad about their house. As I've been to houses and I walk through with sellers, a lot of times as you start developing rapport, they're saying the bad things about the house. Oh, I know this needs to be fixed. Oh, I know that needs to be fixed. And they start opening up. So what would you say is the most common objection you get when you're walking houses?
They're all different. If I sat here and said that I have one common objection that everybody gives me, I'd be lying to you. They're all different, but that's the other thing. A lot of times in sales, people try to guess what the next objection is to try to get around it, but then you're not really thinking about what are we currently talking about. So take the appointment as it comes, tackle any objection that's right in front of you, touch on it real quickly, get away from it. Don't focus on this might happen, that might happen. Just let it flow.
So for our people watching, just give me an example of something you've had happen lately as far as a seller that's hasn't leaned towards the yes to start. They tried something to steer away from signing that contract.
I can't sign the contract today because my CPA needs to review it to see what I'm going to do with the money when I sell the house. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I heard about this. So what was your response to this one?
My response to that was, one, again, tackle the objection head on and then get away from it as quickly as possible. So what I did was just pounced on the opportunity right away. Well, your CPA probably won't help you make a decision on selling your house, but they can advise you what they're going to do with the funds. So when escrow reaches out to you, before we get to that point, your CPA will already have something prepared for you on what you want to do with the finances. Mm-hmm. But if we were to move forward today, what would I have to do to make that work for you? Well, the lady wanted $5,000 more. Mm-hmm. All right, so now if I could get a contract right now at $5,000 higher than my offer, or potentially leave and never get the contract, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. I'm going to get the contract right now. But instead of just saying, yes, I give you $5,000 right now and make it sound too easy and then make her really question my offer, said, well, okay, now we both know what it's going to take to get the deal done today. I want to make this work for you. I don't think I could do the extra $5,000. Mm-hmm. Give me about 5-10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer if I really get yelled at. I'm going to go to my truck. I'll call my boss, see what he says. Now remember, I want this done today. I'm really going to try to get you the $5,000. What happens if I can't get you the $5,000 though? Can we meet maybe at $2,500? No, can't do it. It's either $5,000 or we can't do it. Okay, well, okay. Go to the truck, make a phone call, come back out. I don't know if you heard me getting yelled at, but he's pretty angry with me. I can't do the $5,000. What? I can't. Look, I could do the $2,500, but I can't do the $5,000. But let's move forward with the $5,000 that you're wanting to get this deal done. Let's move forward right now. By the time I get back to the office, my boss will have some time to cool off. Let's just get this done and ask for forgiveness on the back end. Okay, let's do it. Signed right off the bat. And it all started with the CPA needing to approve the contract. Well, really, she only wanted a few $1,000s more.
Yep.
The power of my negotiation was I blamed it on my boss. I can't do it. But then to create the moment right now to sign it before she lost the money was, hey, my boss said I can't. Let's still get it done right now, and I'll deal with it on the back end. And we got the contract signed.
Do you know what our potential spread on that one was going to be?
Roughly $50,000.
Okay, so roughly a $50,000 spread. And the way he was hesitant about the $5,000 more is what gets him that spread. Could he have taken $45,000 and went ahead and just said, okay, let's do it? Sure, he could have. But the thing is he wanted the 50. So this is where it comes down to, like I talked about our other sales guys and their confidence level. Most of them would have said, hey, I'll take the 45. Let's just get the deal done, right? He said, no. I want that extra 5. And that's what he was trying to do. And when you really look at this and you look at how he negotiates a deal, he does a damn good job doing it. And sellers have objections, and a lot of times it's beyond price. So you have to look at it and say, what is their actual objection? You've got to get that out of them. And by building rapport with them, that's how you're going to find this out. So in this case, when he said he went out to the truck and he called his boss, my phone didn't ring. I mean, literally it's just, oh my gosh, yes, I know. I know. $2,500? That's just, I mean, she'll sign today for 5, right? I mean, so can we just go ahead and just go the 5? Oh, okay. No, I understand. I mean, is his boss on the phone? No, his boss is not on the phone. Now, tip for you, put your phone on silent so it doesn't actually ring in your ear while you're talking.
Sounds like you've done that before.
I did, actually, and it was embarrassing. I'm like, oh, I must have lost them. They're calling me back. But the thing is he's not actually making that phone call to me. He's just leaving that seller kind of hanging right there. But what I've seen a lot of people do is say, oh, we're $5,000 apart. Okay, we'll just leave then. I'll call you later and we'll try to figure something out. Don't leave that house. What he did well is he stayed at the house and said, I am going to try to get this deal done today. And by getting the deal done today, yeah, we might have taken $5,000 off of our price, but I mean, ultimately, that's where we needed to be. We got it done and we have a great spread. So he does a damn good job locking these deals up. So objections You just need to build rapport better, in my opinion. Build that rapport so you can overcome and actually figure out what the objection is. So many people in the past have wanted additional $5,000 or $10,000. Now, to them, 5 or 10 grand, they're afraid to say it to us, right? They say, oh, well, he's only at $200,000. I really need 207, something like that. And they're afraid to say it because to them, they look at $7,000 as it's such a big number. And there's no way in hell is he going to be able to go up $7,000. Well, once we get that out of them, we have the ability to work those numbers and figure out where they're coming from versus just the excuses they keep giving us. Mm-hmm. So focus on that rapport building. And I think you're going to start seeing the objection shrink because the person's going to feel comfortable with you that they're actually going to have the ability to tell you some of these things. Now, not every seller is going to be that way. There's going to be a lot that are basically going to go, no way am I going to even talk to this guy. It's going to happen. But in that case, that's where you try to pull the objection out of them, correct?
Yeah, and so a lot of times when I get reached out to for help, they get stuck. At an appointment, they get stuck on a certain objection that the sales rep doesn't actually know is an objection. Mm-hmm. So the scenario that we talked about earlier, I have to have my brother help make this decision for me. We grew up in the house together or whatever it may have you. He needs to make that decision. So a lot of times the sales guy will believe that is a real objection. There's no way Mike could sell this house without his brother's approval. Yeah. Well, if you actually believe that to be fact, then you'll never get over the objection. So rule number 1 about objections, everything is an objection. Mm-hmm. And if you build the rapport, then you can start to learn what is actually a real objection that you could solve or something that is just, no, I'm not doing this because I'm not comfortable enough. Yeah. And that, I think, is the hardest thing. To believe everything is an objection so you could overcome it is going to be the trick where somebody could go from maybe 1 contract a month to 5 right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. Let's try this one because I know I've heard this one before. Yeah, Mike, I would sign with you, but I do want to get a couple other offers.
Okay, great. So in a perfect world, Scott, what would it take today for you to be happy to get you to move on to your next spot? If everything was 100% perfect in your world, how would this go today?
Well, Mike, I'd get top dollar. I mean, of course, I want the highest amount I can get for the house.
Okay, so with my offer, then is there something you don't like about it?
Well, I mean, I just want the top dollar. I don't know what anyone else is going to offer me.
Okay, so I'm at $100,000. I definitely could see you entertaining some other offers. Pretty much everybody's going to be right around the same price as me, but let's talk about the timeline again. You said you wanted to be out of here in 30 days, right?
Correct.
Okay. So $100,000 doesn't really seem to just be a perfect scenario for you. So how far off am I? What would I have to do to make this deal work for you? And remember, it doesn't mean, I'm not saying I can do it, Scott. Mm-hmm. I just want to know, if there was something that would make you happy, what is it?
Mm-hmm. So see what he did. So me as the seller, I could be looking for 105 and he offered me 100. Now, a lot of times, I strongly believe that when someone is saying, I need to get a competing offer, they're buying time, right? They don't want to make that decision. It goes back to those people that are trying to steer clear of those decisions. So see how he kind of overcame that objection by kind of throwing it back at them, trying to find out more in depth, what is it that's actually stopping you from signing this today? Without physically saying, what is stopping you from signing? He's kind of beating around the bush a little bit, but he's hammering my objection because, yeah, let's say I do get a competing offer, right? So am I going to go back to Mike when my competing offers come in at 90,000 and Mike was at 100,000? Yeah, I'll probably go back to Mike at that time. But Mike wants to try to lock it in today. So like he's saying, hey, the other offers are probably going to be right around where I'm at. And these other offers might not be as good. He wants to close in 30 days. So let's get this thing done so we can get this on track. And it's one less thing for them to worry about. The seller needs you to basically take care of their need, fill their need, and help them move on from it. And by the stuff he's doing, he's overcoming those objections, getting the house signed. And every time we get a contract signed, we always basically treat it like it's a party, right? Mike says, oh, congratulations. They leave with the contract. They bring the contract into our office here, and our transaction coordinator calls that seller almost like, oh my gosh, we're so excited to have you as part of our team. Congratulations on selling your house. And they're just being so nice to this person that this person just loves our transaction coordinator. And at that point, they want to call that person instead of Mike. So any problems they have going forward, they're typically going to call her. And that's what we want them to do, because Mike's now moving on to the next sale. But we know that the customer is being taken care of, and they're going to feel that they're part of a team this whole time. And that really helps us when it comes to that, because those are the people that say, hey, by the way, I have a friend that's actually looking at selling as well. And that's what we look for. We want to try to get those referrals. You had one you got signed last week that you found out the dad had multiple properties, and they were testing you on the one deal to see if it worked out right. And if it worked out right, he was going to look at selling you his properties as well, right?
Yeah, so and that's something that I missed because I thought I had all the information. Well, I went to the property, I bought it, I gave the guy a price that he really likes, and I think we're making $61,000 off the deal, and the guy's still happy. Well, after the appointment, after he had already signed, he called me back and said, oh, by the way, I failed to mention to you that my dad owns 2 houses on the same street, 4 houses down, and if I got an offer that I'd like, he'd probably sell to you as well. He wants to wait till January, but he's fully on board to sell to you. Oh, and then Mike, you know what? We have another property in Riverside by the golf course. Do you want to take a look at that one too? So out of one deal that we're making a lot of money off of, all because the rapport went great, everything went great with the appointment, and he fully trusts us. Now there's 3 more properties right off the bat that we're going to buy from him. And if we worked out a deal on the first property, the next 3 are going to be even easier to do it. And that all comes from the confidence that we talked about in the very beginning. Confidence, but then execution. So if your confidence is good, but you're lacking the execution, or if you have bad confidence, but you could execute good, if those 2 aren't on point, you're not going to be able to get a big spread. You're not going to get referrals. You're not going to get happy customers when it's all done and said. So everything ties in together. You can't have all of your focus on this side, but not on that side. It all ties in together, but when it does, it goes seamlessly. They don't even read the contract. I have signed right here. Perfect. When do I get the money? Oh, good. When can I move? Oh, perfect. Yeah. It really comes down to confidence and execution from the beginning to the end. And that's with our entire staff, not just me.
And, in closing, so to really think about it, we want to take care of that seller, right? We want to do everything that seller wants us to do, so they want to come back to us again. And we do that very well. Now, I've seen a lot of people that go out and their first negotiation tactic is, I'll give you $100,000 for your house. Stop throwing out that number. You really need to start understanding what it is that the seller wants. If you just go throw out that number without any explanation, without any rapport building, 100% of the time, you're not going to get that contract.
There's the door.
Exactly. And these guys have been kicked out of houses before. Seller, oh, no, leave. And it happens, but ultimately you want to do everything you can to pull what the seller wants. What is their distress? What do they actually want for this house? Now, keep in mind, if they throw out $100,000 and you were going to offer $100,000, your offer's not $100,000 anymore. Your offer's probably going to be $80,000. So you want to try to get a little bit lower. Now, you don't want to go in and be like, okay, yeah, $100,000. Okay, $100,000 done. Let's sign here, because the seller's going to start going,
Too easy.
Yeah, that was too easy. I probably should have asked for more. And that might be a seller that during the escrow process, or we have escrow in California, or just during the closing process, they may start flaking on you. And you don't want that. You want them to be happy about the sale. You basically want to leave that house thinking in your head, oh my God, I won. And I got that seller to go to this price, and I would have gone $20,000 higher. But then in turn, after you leave the seller's house, the seller's saying, oh my God, I took Mike and I raked him over the coals. I got that extra 10 grand out of him. And Mike's sitting here smiling, the seller's smiling. But when Mike leaves that house, man, he looks defeated, right? He's got his boss on his ass, right? He says, I'm going to go back to the office and I'm going to have to deal with my boss on this one. Oh my gosh. But he's happy. And he celebrates afterwards. But the seller is also celebrating because this little punk that came to his house, he raked him over the coals and took every dollar he can from him, and he's so confident in his house sale. Then on the other end, he got such good customer service from the back end that he feels like he won all around. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you look at this and it helps you overcome those objections. We'll do a YouTube video soon, a little more in depth, maybe some role playing. But there it is. Hopefully this helps you out.